Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this hybrid Reactor session. At the Reactors, we are hubs for founders and developers where they come to meet, learn, connect to local peers, and also to industry-leading ideas and technology from speakers from Microsoft and the open source community, and also from Microsoft partners. On today's session, we are lucky to have Henk Bolman, who is visiting us in the UAE. This is one of the first hybrid sessions that we do together here in the UAE. We are excited for this, and on today's session and also throughout the coming, I would say, week, we will be around the city and around the UAE in different hubs, in different universities. First of all, make sure that you check out the calendar, be part of these activities, whether they're happening in person or online. You will find both options available for you. So in case you want to join us in person, register on the meetup. Let us know that you are coming in person. And if you're joining online, we will also have the setup ready for you to be able to join. As usual, I like to introduce the session. Also, I introduce myself. I am Hussam Mohsineh. I lead the Microsoft Reactor in the Middle East and Africa, which is physically located in Abu Dhabi. But we have been doing lots of work across the Middle East and Africa region, specifically, due to the virtual situation that we're in. All of, I would say, 90% of our programming has been online and available to all. And this allowed us to create impact not only in the UAE, but also across the Middle East and Africa region. So all our programming is available to you online, but in few occasions like today and throughout next week, we will be coming back in person through our partnership with different hubs, universities. So leverage that, be part of these events, meet us in person, and ask as many questions as you want. Throughout this presentation, I'm gonna also go back off stage in a bit and give it to Hank. In today's session, we're talking about building accessible experiences with AI. And I'll let Hank join me here on the stage in a bit to talk about that. As usual, this is a Microsoft Reactor event, and we follow the code of conduct. So basically, let's keep it friendly and good environment for everyone. Ask as many questions as you want. We welcome all viewpoints and questions, and there will be a certain dedicated time for that. Hank, if you are ready, please join me on stage.
Yes, I should be ready now.
Thank you, Hank, for joining us today.
Cool, thank you for having me.
All right.
And thank you for arranging this meetup on a Saturday evening.
Awesome. We have an exciting plan for the rest of the week with you across different hubs here in Dubai, and also with the different universities, Middlesex University, University of Dubai, DTech, and also Astrolabs, where we are today. We're at Astrolabs Academy in Al Quoz, and joining whether in person or online. I'm gonna be going backstage, helping people with the backstage, and also responding to some of the questions. But thank you so much for doing this with us, and thank you for being visiting the UAE and doing these sessions with us. Cool.
Thank you for that introduction, and thanks everyone for joining here in person and online. And let's hope this camera will not overheat again here in Dubai. So today I'm going to talk to you about how you can build more accessible experiences using AI. So my name is Henk Boelman. I'm a cloud advocate from the Netherlands. I have to stand here, otherwise I walk out of the frame. Hello everyone online. So my name is Henk Boelman. I'm a cloud advocate working at Microsoft, focusing on AI, and I'm based in the Netherlands. But before you start, did you know that you can follow this session online in more than 100 languages? Let me show you how we are going to do that. So we are going to use the Microsoft App Translator for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a conversation that I've already prepared for you. You have to log in with a Microsoft account or a Google account. We can log in. And I had my presets here. So I will start a new one. I will say reactor event. My name is presenter. I'm speaking to you in English. We're going to limit it that only I'm the one that can speak in the conversation. We are agreeing with the terms of condition, of course. Click create. And here we have our code. So we can start the conversation. Start the conversation. And we will zoom in a little bit. We say the mic stays on, mute everyone else in the conversation. So here I am. So now you can actually see everything I'm saying in this app. But you as a visitor can join by going to the same website. I will join here in another browser window. Saying here, test user. And my language is Arabic for now. So I say join the conversation. And now I can speak in English. I will click on all the commercials. So now I can speak in English, and you should be able to follow me in real time in Arabic when I'm staying close to the microphone in my laptop, because otherwise it will hear some different words. So this is how easy you can make your presentation accessible for any language so that people can follow along. So this can do it actually in 100 languages. And for some languages, you can even put it on that it will speak the words out loud. So you can put in a headphone and listen to me in a voice of your choice through this application. And there's also a mobile app. So you can also plug in your mobile app, put in your headphones, and start listening to me. So I will leave it on, and we will see if it is doing a good job during the presentation. But you have to stay close to the microphone, and I tend to walk a little bit. So now with that said, we'll go back to introductions so everyone can follow it. So my name is Henk Boelman. I have a Twitter @hboelman. You can follow me on there. There is a GitHub where you can find back most of the presentations I'm doing and most of the demos. And there is my blog where you can read more about all these AI services and about accessibility in general. So what are we going to do in this session? We're going to look at one basic topic. We're going to look at how AI building blocks can make your applications more accessible. But why? Why do we want that? Because over 1 billion people in the world have a disability. That can be situational, like a broken arm. That can be permanently by being wheelchair bound. And so there are a lot of different disabilities. And of course, we want to create software that everyone can use and that everyone can have the same experience. So let's take a look at the word disability. So disability is often seen as a personal health condition, like I've broken my arm, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm having a vision impairment, I'm blind. But disability is more like a mismatch between someone's abilities and the way the environment is set up. So it is a human-made problem. Because what we see here, wheelchairs don't really make a building inaccessible. It's the stairs that make the building inaccessible. And here you can see how that can actually happen. And probably we're all later on going to have a disability. We will lose our vision, we will lose our mobility. So now we're, at least me, I still think myself of young. We're young, we can do everything, but we're all going to have it. And this is a really perfect quote, some just beat us to it. So for me, if I look at accessibility, it is the design of products, services, and environments so that everyone, including people with disabilities, can fully experience them. Not like this second-hand experience that you have to go into like 600 menus to put your accessibility feature on, which you can't find because you have probably a disability that prevents you from finding that feature. No, everyone has to be able to experience your product or your service. And if you design for accessibility, like the first audiobooks were made for blind people, so they could experience a book. Now everyone is using it. So you create a better experience for everyone. And there are also lots of things in Teams that are actually because of people with disabilities are being invented. Like there was immersive reader for people who have dyslexia, so they can actually focus on the text and remove all the distractions. There is a blurred background, so people are not being distracted, and that actually people with a hearing impairment can actually follow way better the face and focus on the lip reading, for instance. Captions and transcriptions, for everyone good, also for me. Video recordings, because of all the different time zones, so we can include everyone in our meetings. And the hand-ups and emoticons, and especially for me, the hands-up is really nice because it's always hard if you don't speak the English language to intervene in an English conversation. So the hand-up, you get the attention and you can share your opinion or your views in that meeting. So what are we going to do next? We're going to look at some services that can help us make sense of the world with computer vision and through speech recognition. And that is just a small tip of all the capabilities we have. So let's take a look at Microsoft Azure and the AI services we have. So we start with our base layer, Azure Machine Learning. This is a service where you can manage the complete life cycle of your machine learning model, from actually having the data, processing data, working together to train your model, and actually running them in production. On top of that, we have our Azure Cognitive Services. These are out-of-the-box services you can use. So we train the AI models, we make sure they're fair, they're transparent, and we make sure that they are available for everyone and in every region. So they're divided in 4 regions. There is language, vision, decision, and speech. So there is vision to make your application see, speech to make your application listen and talk back to you, language to understand what is being spoken, and decisions to detect things like anomalies. So these services are API calls. And we have Azure Applied AI services that use those services underwater. But these are exactly the same services as the translator app is being using underwater. So you can build your own products on top of these services. And that is exactly what we have done. We call them Azure Applied AI services. So we have Azure Video Analyzer. We have Azure Metrics Advisor, a bot service that can help you create bots. Azure Cognitive Search and Azure Immersive Reader. They're all built on top of these cool services, which are created using some of them using Azure Machine Learning. So Microsoft Cognitive Services are a set of around 50 APIs calls at the moment in vision, speed, language, and knowledge. So without further ado, let's start some demos. So what I'm going to show you here in this demo is how we can look at an image, understand what is on the image, and then actually translate it and get it back in our ears. So basically what this translator app was doing, but now we're going to see how we can do it ourselves with a little bit of Python code. So here we see Visual Studio Code. That's our free code editor. And in that code editor, there is running a notebook. And notebooks, for who are not familiar with notebooks, they're really easy for prototyping and figuring out things. So because in a cell, you put a lot of code or a bit of code, you hit run, and it executes that code. And the code it runs is Python. So let's start with importing a lot of dependencies in the first cell. Move up, and it is done. You see if it is done in the bottom. Then we're going to use the Azure CLI to create a resource group in Azure. So the Azure CLI is another way of creating resources. So you have the portal, you have RM templates, and you have the Azure CLI. So the Azure CLI is really great because you can just type like Azure CLI AZ group create, and you give it a name. You first have to log in using AZ login, but then you can execute all the things using the command line. So let's run it and create our resource group. So just logging in, and it is creating the resource group. And here we have it, and I've created in Western Europe. The next thing we're going to create is a cognitive service from the kind computer vision. So we're doing that. Then we're going to list all the keys, and we're going to list the endpoint. So here it is, the computer vision, and this is our API key, and this is the URL we have to call. So I'm going to put that in my script here. And because I'm using a package that I have installed for the computer vision client, an SDK, that is the word I was looking for, in Python, I can use that SDK to create a computer vision client for me. But all the other things you can also do just plain REST calls. But a package will really make it a lot easier for you, the SDK. So the SDKs are available in Java and C# and Python. So there are a lot of these SDKs available. I'm using the Python one. So let's connect to the computer vision client and create a computer vision client in this case. So, and this is the image we're going to analyze. So this is the Microsoft mission written in English on a piece of paper. And what I wanted to do is I want this document to be translated and read back to me in my language of choice. So let's start and analyze and extract the text from the image. We're doing that, and here we see it is extracted and found all the words on the image. Empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. We see that it has found where the text actually is in the image. I've only highlighted now the sentences, but you can also highlight all the individual words. So now we have the text, and let's see if we can actually translate this. So now the next service we're going to create is a translation, text translation, cognitive service endpoint. And we also ask for our key. So I copy and paste the key. And the translation endpoint, there is no SDKs because it is a really straightforward endpoint. You just send the text you want to have translated to it with and the languages you want to have it translated to. So here we have it in Dutch, and here we have it in Arabic. And it's been told to me by that one over there that it was a good translation. So now we have it translated. Then the next thing we can do is actually to create a WAV file, use the speech service to convert the text into spoken text, spoken word actually. So we're going to create a speech service endpoint. We'll ask for the key. We ask for the endpoint URL. And we are going to use that. So we'll run it. We choose a voice name. And then we can create a piece of spoken text. Takes around 20 seconds. And then if I unmute myself into the stream, unmute, and I hope it is not echoing in the stream too much.
تمكين كل شخص ومنظمة على هذا الكوكب من تحقيق المزيد. تمكين كل شخص ومنظمة على هذا الكوكب من تحقيق المزيد.
Stop sharing my audio in the stream again. I hope you could all hear that and that it actually makes sense to all of you. And I was happy to communicate a little bit in the language here. But there are a lot of other things we can do with images. So this is just an example with like 3 API calls actually, how you can go from an image all the way up to spoken language in a different language. So let's have a look at vision. What can you do more? So we'll start again in a Jupyter notebook with some different packages. Create a research group, create a computer vision client again. And when we have the API key, we're going to go through a little bit more of the more features of this API. We copy and paste the key, create a computer vision client, and this time we're going to look at an image of my city in the Netherlands. This is Amsterdam. You see, it is an extremely busy image with a lot of things going on. So if we run that through our computer vision API, it can actually generate a description for us. And the description it generates is bicycles parked on a bridge, which is actually what the whole image is about. But it can do more. It can also detect all kind of objects on the image. Here it has found some trees, some bicycles here, actually some bicycle wheels. So it detects objects, which is really cool. But sometimes it does not really do what it has to do. Or it actually is doing what it has to do, but maybe not what I intended it to do. Here it has detected a person. But it was not my intent or my wish that it would detect a person on the banknote. It would have been my wish to detect, hey, this is a 2,000 rupees banknote. So what we're now going to do is we're going to use the custom vision servers to train a model that can detect banknotes. And for that, we still don't need any knowledge of machine learning, only understanding how we have to use this tool. So we're going to create another endpoint, custom vision endpoint. We're getting a training key from it. And we can connect to it. So the first thing now what we have to choose is what are we going to train? Is it a landmark? Is it food? Is it retail? Is it a logo, products on shelf? So you first choose your base domain where you're going to build on top of. So in our case, we're just going to use a general compact model. Why compact? Because the compact models you can export and run locally on your machine. The other models you actually have to deploy in an endpoint and do calls to the endpoint. The other ones you can export and have Onyx models. You can have the core ML models that will run on your iPhone, of TensorFlow EAS models that can actually run in the browser. We are going to go for Onyx. So I already trained this model because nobody wants to wait like 10 minutes for the model to be trained. So we're going to skip this, but I will talk you through what we have to do. So we first create a project called Indian Banknotes, and that will create a trainer. Then we're going to have a look at the data set. This is the data set from every image, every banknote, around 10 to 15 images. And that's not a good practice. You need to have at least 50 images for a good model. But I didn't have more. So I've used this. Then you're going to upload those images in batches. You can upload 64 by 64 by 64 images. And then you're going to start the training. That takes around 5 minutes, so you wait for it. And then you can start exporting your model. You give the flavor you want, and you say export. You wait a little bit, it converts your model, and when it is ready, you can actually download the model in a zip file and extract it and do some fun things with it. So now we're going to quickly download the last iteration of my model. And we're going to download it and unzip it in the directory called model. And here is my export.zip. So in the model are now the labels, the notes, and the actual model in Onyx format. We can load that model and run it over a bunch of test images that were not in, of course, the training data set. So here we see that it can now classify the banknotes. It can tell us, hey, this is a 100 note, this is the 200 note, this is the 50 note, with 5 minutes of training. So you can do this for kind of any object. This is just an example with the banknotes, but if you want to classify lamps, or your food, or your different type of shoes, take a bunch of pictures, good pictures, and then you can train a model on it. But yeah, sometimes there are faces on the images, and you want to see who is there. Like if I would look at you, I would be able to to have your names matched to it, or have some insights about your faces. For that, we can use the Face API. So we can create again a cognitive service, and this time we use it of the kind face. We create the endpoint, gives us a notice, and here we have our API key. We create again a face client, so you see all those type of APIs are kind of the same, and you can use it the same way. Create a client and do a call. And now we're going to have a look at a bunch of my friends during the Tech Ally Summit. So here we are. It are the 6 of us, actually the 7 of us. There's some people there in the mirror. So let's have a look at what this API thinks of that. So what we see here is it can extract all the faces from the image. It just cuts them out nicely. And here we have me. So let's have a look. It thinks I'm a male. I smile. 46, it's wrong. It's not true. Maybe I have to shave a little bit. Tells you you have reading glasses on, so it can tell you a few things. It can tell you have reading glasses on, sunglasses on, or swimming goggles. So someone actually uploaded like thousands of pictures of people wearing swimming goggles. It's really fun. And then it classifies your emotion. If you're trying to guess if you're wearing makeup, yes, no. And that is what it is doing for everyone here. That's obvious. I had makeup on, so here you see that it is actually detecting that, which is pretty cool. But still, people are still numbers. So let's have a look how we can actually add names to those faces. So in my training images, oh yeah, here we will see, I have the profile pictures from Twitter from those people on the image. So you see these are completely different images, but from the same people. The next thing I'm doing is I'm creating a face group. So you can have lots of different groups, like this is the Tech Ally Summit, this is my company group. And in those groups, you're going to create persons. And at those persons, you're going to add faces. And then you say train. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to create a person, and then we're going to add faces to persons. So we have here the names, and then we're training this group. And training takes really like 1 second. You can have like 10 to 20,000 people in it, and it is still very fast. So now we have trained, we should be able to identify those unique numbers. So we're going to send this picture to the API again. We're getting these face IDs back, And then we're going to ask the identify method, hey, can you identify or match these numbers with someone in our face group? And then we can display the result and see that now we have names with those people, like here. Floor and Hank and Roland were all here on the image. So that are just a few of the cognitive services I wanted to show you. I'm going to grab my adapter because my notebook is warning. I'm going to move this. Sorry.
Okay, when you say downloading the model, do you mean the model is working offline without Azure connection?
Exactly.
Does it work in for Canon and developer use that?
And yeah.
Like, they have like any Excel thing?
Yeah, so you get the model file and you get some examples on how to use that model in your software. So and it depends on kind of the flavor that you download. So you can get it even in a ready-to-make Docker container, which you can run in your own infrastructure. That's one way. You can get it as TensorFlow ES, so you can run it using JavaScript. You can have Onyx, so you can actually run it in Python or C# or any language of your choice, and Cormel, so you can use it in Swift and deploy it to your iPhone, and then your model is just there. But, exactly, which is really cool, I think. So next, I want to show you two services that are built on top of these APIs. Azure Media Service, so you can create your own accessible streams, and Video Analyzer to extract all kind of insights from your videos you've made. So time for more demos. And so we go back to the browse to this, no. To this browser, sorry for that. So we start with Azure Media Service. So Azure Media Service is a service you can create your own streams with, which is really cool because you can start your streams on YouTube and all other providers, but also Azure can create stream as a streaming solution for you. There's a lot of on-demand video which you can use, but you can also have live events. So let's create a new live event. I've already set up Azure Media Services because it takes a long time for all the CDNs to be provisioned. So let's start here and we call it the reactor test. Next, you choose your encoding type. So you can have full HD or you can have like standard HD. So we will choose premium encoding up to 1080p. So we have a good quality stream. We can use all the defaults here. We will choose that our input is going to be RTMP. It can generate a random streaming name for us now. And we're going to start this live event. I own all the copyrights to this event. Then we click Advanced. And now we can enable live transcriptions. We select the input language. Create an endpoint for us in Azure where we can stream to from a program called OBS or vMix or even Settings, stream. I'm going to use a custom streaming key. Click OK and say start streaming. Video is going to play and streaming to our endpoint. So add captions to it. And WS, I say update player. And here we see we have a stream now being live captioned by Azure Media Service. And you can real-time switch between different languages. You can have it also captioned in Dutch and so on. So this is how you can create your own private and public streams with captions to make them more accessible. Yes.
What's the delay between the streaming and translation and reading of the video? Is there a big delay between the translation and reading because it's real time?
The delay is around 10 to 20 seconds. So it is almost real time. Yeah. Yeah, we can see it here. She is now talking.
Can you do a translation on the top of that?
Not yet. I'm hoping that will come soon. So this is a accessible stream, and you can just embed this player in your website, customize it, add some tracking to it, and do all kind of really cool things. This is also what we use during our conferences, and then we actually have like a button that you can turn on and off a sign language interpreter. So that brings us, I will stop streaming to save some bandwidth, to our last service, the Azure Video Analyzer. So if you have already streamed, you can analyze your video. And of course, I'm not logged in anymore, so I will log in again using my Azure credentials. We click on the same video here. So you upload your video, you wait a little bit, and it will extract all these cool insights from your video. It will find all the different faces in your video. It will tell you some different labels, some named identities. It will tell you the emotions that go through the video and in which video clips you actually, it divides it in different scenes. But the most cool thing is that it makes a transcription of your video in, of course, first the language that was being spoken. But you can translate that transcription very fast in all different languages. So here we have it now translated. And if I play it here in the video, we'll play, you can do it. I will mute it. We can actually enable them as captions. So you can generate captions in like around 50 languages, I think, at the moment. And you can download them. So you can also add them to, for instance, YouTube or to your Camtasia projects, Adobe Premiere, where you can fine-tune them later again. So we will close this and go back to the presentation. So another good example of an app that is built on these cognitive services is the Seeing AI app that combines all these services in a very useful application to make sense around the world of the sense for everything. So let's watch a small movie of that.
My take on life is that life is definitely there to take. What you put in is what you get out. 2 days ago, me and my family in Egypt, they both play a huge part. Technology allows you to be my own while my pants. I try to be as independent as I can. The way that I do that mostly is with low tech, which is what I can, and high tech, which is what I see AI. Workspace, database, has a multitude of functions, and they all work together to produce something that you can use whenever you need it. It's quite descriptive, really, processing. A small field with lots of different types of fruit that I think is pretty recognition.
In my view,
one of the best parts of seeing is the ability to read pictures from social media.
so many times someone will send me a picture of something that I cannot understand. So I will share that picture to Seeing AI.
See, probably a group of people sitting on a bench in a park.
And then I will get a description of what it is.
Person. 8-year-old boy with black hair looking happy, 7-year-old girl with brown hair looking disgusted.
And it's changed how I can view social media. It feels like I can participate
Like, reply.
far more than I could before.
Thank you for sharing. Handwriting preview.
With Handwriting Channel, I was actually able to read a card from a family member last year. That's the first time I'd actually been able to do that without help.
Dear Dad.
Alice worked. We can tell if Jake's been writing well if the handwriting tab can recognize it. That's good proof, really.
We love you, Daddy. XXXXXX.
We've got lots of X's. The effect of having Seeing AI to hand all the time is like having somebody who can see in your pocket.
34-year-old man with a beard wearing a hat looking happy.
There is so much more that I can do now that I couldn't before. You've grown up. I think seeing AI really is a huge technological step down the road, and I hope that we can continue down a road like this for many years to come.
Yes, I'm back. So this is just one thing you can do with all these AI services combined and make like really useful, accessible applications. So before I end this session, I all want you to go home and start asking yourself the questions I'm going to show you when you are making some new applications. So always start with, when you build an application, to ask, who am I building this for? And who am I building this with? Because accessibility is not something you add on in the test phase. Like, oh shit, we have to test for accessibility. What do we do? How can we build it on? No, let's start in the beginning. Find some people that are going to use your product. Create a diverse team so you can take it in the development phase and add it there. So you can develop in one time for everyone. Also ask yourself, who can experience this? Did I check all the things I have to do? Like, are the captions available? Do I have alt text for all my images? Does it support recordings? Is my SEO okay? Run the accessibility checker if you're doing PowerPoint. Just check to see if your PowerPoint presentation is accessible for everyone. And who am I unintentionally excluding? Make sure that everyone has a way to participate in your product, in your event. And are accessibility features, accommodations available for everyone? Not just for the person that asks or wants to have them on. Are they there? If you have an if you have an event page, just put on, like, this is the things we have arranged. Don't make someone go to the footer and, like in a small corner, find, oh, I can come with a wheelchair to that event. There is an elevator. Just put it straight forward. There is a sign language interpreter. We have Braille for if you have a visual impairment. We have arranged childcare and all those things to make it accessible. There are video recordings. And probably you will not get it right the first time. So ask for feedback, learn from everyone, and then bring it back in your product and make your product, service, or event better. So the more inclusive you are, the more innovative you can be. And together we can create a better and more accessible world for everyone. So thank you all for listening, being here, being in the stream, all the way from Brazil, I just saw in the comments. So that's really cool. If you want to give me feedback, you can go to ak.ms/acc-fb accessibility. Feedback in short. And if you want to have these notebooks and explore these services, you can go to ak.ms/hank/accessibility-AI. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Hank, for today's session. It was a very insightful one, and of course, we need to be accommodating for the different ways we can create our applications and websites and services, etc., more accessible to all. For anyone who's joining us today or on the live stream, we have received some questions and we have taken some during today's presentation, but we can take some time also to cover some more. If you have any question, we can cover that, and I have the external mic as well to take your questions. So do you have any more questions for Hank? And for those who were on the stream, we saw some from France, Brazil, and Florida. I think that was the ones that I noticed the most. All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today, and we hope to see you in the following events. Make sure you are part of the community on Meetup. This is where we post all our events. As I said before, Hank is visiting us in the UAE for this week, and we will be having several events across different hubs. So we are having the next one in DTech in Dubai Silicon Oasis on Monday, and we will have another one also in Middlesex University, which is open to all. There are also more events for you to check out on the Meetup. And also for those who are watching us online, you will also have an option to stream that session. That's all for today. Thank you so much, and see you next time.